And welcome to part 5 of Knox Vintage Records Vintage Stuff Auction number 1. We are going to need to pick up the pace. As it's looking right now, we just completed hour 4. This will be part 4. This will be part 5. We've got at least 2 more parts, and probably we're going to run a special part all by itself for some of the Caruso items. Kind of go together. So we're probably looking at probably 2.5 more parts. Can you have 2.5 parts, Raquel, or do we have a half a part?
If you want.
All right. Well, I guess we're just going to see how it goes. So let's get started. We're going to begin this hour number 5 with this Brunswick phonograph. This is a Brunswick P3 Panatrope in a Stratford art case. This is a very rare machine. Number 1, it's these Brunswick Panatropes were the very first phonographs to incorporate the horseshoe pickup and amplifier. So the amplifier in here is actually an RCA amplifier. They joined together with RCA to build these things. And the horn speaker here is very interesting. You'll see it's a little wooden cone in there. It looks pretty primitive, which it is. I have not played or heard one of these machines, so I can't tell you what that actually sounds like, but from the reports I hear over the internet, when these things are tweaked up, they really sound fantastic. This is a totally electrical machine. It's got an electric motor and electric reproduction, so there is no winding crank on it. Therefore, I'm not able to get it work because I don't know anything about that kind of stuff. I've never had anybody look at it or try to do it. It's just not my thing. But it looks to be complete to me for whatever that is worth. We are going to kind of go around the machine and show you what it looks like. And we're going to start here with the inside the horn. Here are your record storage cabinets on either side. This is as you can see, a Japanese lacquer type finish with the hand-painted ornamentation and scroll work on the legs and so forth. A very, very handsome cabinet in really nice shape. It's alligator, you're going to find some spots on the top where people have set things, but in really, really good condition. Again, a very, very rare machine. I have not seen another one of these. Let's look at the sides and the back. So this is your left side panel. Your right side panel. And your back. So this is a little screen door for ventilation from the amplifier inside. This is very often missing on these things when they do turn up. Are you able to get the plate here, Raquel?
Yes.
This, you can see the plate on here, Brunswick Panatrope model AZ944. I'm pretty sure the AZ944 is the model number of the amplifier and not the machine itself. The machine is a P3. In order to accommodate the amplifier and everything, they had to actually drop the level here below the bottom of the cabinet with these brackets. That was kind of a temporary fix to be able to use these cabinets. I think they were feeling the heat from RCA Victor about to come out with something comparable, and they wanted to be first on the market. So kind of a little bit of a workaround, but you don't really notice it from the front. I don't know anything about these, as I said before, but as I look in here, I don't see anything that's just glaring in terms of something that would appear to be missing. So that probably doesn't give you a great deal of confidence, but I think we're good. You can see all the tubes are present. Whether or not the tubes are good, I cannot tell you. But again, like we explained earlier in the auction, none of this stuff is guaranteed. But even if this was working, I wouldn't even want to venture trying to plug it in if it hadn't been restored, because you can do damage to components even if it's operable. So I wouldn't even try plugging it in. I would prefer to just wait for somebody who knows what they're doing to fix this machine up. Okay, looking inside the lid, we can see the pickup with a horseshoe magnet. You know, we talked about several times so far in this series of videos about the needles called pickup needles. Well, here you're looking at a pickup, so that's what a pickup needle would go into. We see a medallion over here, Panatrope. It doesn't even say P3 on it in the model space, but it does have the serial number, which is 120161. And let's just take a peek underneath the turntable. It looks pretty much like a typical acoustic Brunswick. You got your same Brunswick on-off mechanism, and you also have the little pull rings to lift the motor out on this metal plate for easy servicing. All right. Original felt, or I guess more like velvet, on the turntable. Nice, attractive machine. Okay, now we've got the Edison radio. Trademark Thomas A. Edison dealer's banner. This would have hung in an Edison showroom back about 100 years ago, or maybe 90, somewhere around that time period. You can see it's in really nice shape. We've got a few little stains here, right in this general area, but it's pretty clean. We've got a little fraying on the right and the left side, but nothing much to speak of. No real fraying at the bottom or the top. A lot of times you'll find these things with holes, particularly in the corners where it's been folded. This one is good. This thing could be professionally cleaned by a real conservator who knew what they were doing and were watchful of the inks and so forth. And I think this would clean up very, very nicely. And then it could be pressed out so you wouldn't really see the wrinkles either. It looks like the corners are clipped. They really aren't. Can you get in on that, Raquel?
Let's see.
So we see a grommet there in the corner. They actually fold the corner back and put the grommet in for extra strengthening when they've got this thing hanging up. So that is totally original. You got that little lithography company there. Well, it says Sweeney Lithography Company, Belleville, New Jersey. So there we go. I've got this thing hanging from a rod inside. On the back of the banner, there is a strip of cloth that is stitched to it that enables you to insert a rod through it. And so that makes it very nice so it hangs straight without the pressure on those corner points. So a very, very nice piece. You know, I tell you, if you're really into really cool advertising, kind of the radio stuff can beat the phonograph stuff, because radios were really taken off in the 30s during the Art Deco period. So there's really, really cool radio advertising out there. Whereas the phonograph stuff is a little earlier and a little less jazzy, I think. But anyway, so the Edison radio, whether you're a radio or a phonograph guy, that would look great in your music room. All right, we are Knox Vintage Records, and we've featured very few records so far in this video series, so let's rectify that right now. We're going to begin with some picture records. This is a Vogue picture disc, special pressing for the General Electric Company, their new butyl molded transformer. There we go. Nice condition copy of that. A little bit of an edge warp on it, but it will track with weight. Vogue also pressed recordings for Mercury disc jockeys. Here we see one of those. We know it's a disc jockey pressing for a couple of reasons, one of which is that it has the information at the bottom concerning the artist, a little bio information we saw on the flip side. that gives a disc jockey something to say about the record when he's introducing it to his audience. Here is a Vogue test pressing, which is pretty cool. Only information we have is there at the top. This actually was released on the Fortune label as record number 101 for Fortune. You don't find these very often. A picture record with no picture, how about that? Technically it is a picture record because all that writing and information is under the grooves, so that would make it, give it picture record status. Alright, here is a single-sided Edison diamond disc. Mr. Edison on the Essentialness of Music by Sidney Powell. Mr. Powell is the one who is actually reciting what Mr. Edison wrote. This is not actually a recording of Thomas Edison himself. As you can see, that was in really nice shape. Here is a copy of the Edison Diamond Disc tuning record. So a technician or a dealer would use these records to set the 80 RPM speed at which diamond discs should be reproduced with. So right towards the end of production of diamond discs, they went to 78 RPM, but the vast majority of diamond discs are 80. And if you play this on your phonograph and have a tuning fork, then you can set your speed exactly. This is a extremely rare pressing. I want to just read the label to you. Special limited edition Transcontinental phone Edison diamond disc. Celebration of Edison Day, Panama-Pacific International Exposition, Edison Laboratory, 8:15. That would be 8:15 to 9 p.m. I believe. October 21st, 1915, diamond disc addressed to Thomas Alva Edison by Miller Reese Hutchison. One record presented to each guest and official present in the library of Mr. Edison's lab, and one to each official of American Telephone and Telegraph Company. Compliments of Mr. Edison's assistants. And in the wax you see the inscription, name of C.J. Glazer. The flip side of this is a soprano solo from the Pearl Brazil, and that is of no consequence as far as this record is concerned. It's this side which is really amazing. I searched for a long time for a copy of this record, and a guy by the name of Mr. Jim Hadfield up in upstate New York had it, and he sold it to another guy. Oh my gosh, how was I going to live that down? But many years later, probably 25 years later, I was able to buy it from that fellow. You will see a lamination crack right here. That obviously will sound, but it does play through. Very, very rare, very desirable piece, both from a phonographic perspective as well as a telephone perspective. That was kind of in celebration of the completion of the coast-to-coast telephone line. All right, here is an Edison record box. Your very first Edison diamond discs came out in these nice little presentation boxes. They looked great, and it was a neat idea, but they were terrible in terms of how they were used, because these boxes just didn't hold up to those real heavy, thick Edison diamond discs. So you always see them with the edges kind of screwed up. This is actually pretty doggone good compared to most that I've seen. But it does have a little blemish here as well. You may have noticed that. Looks like somebody may have done a little touch-up on a tear. I'm not sure. The record, 82015, is in fact the record that's in here. And it is in very nice condition. It's got a very tiny lamination crack that will certainly play through. But super clean copy of that record, so that's nice. And that lamination crack also has a little edge chip here, which doesn't get into the playing grooves. Another item of record packaging that you might find interesting is this, the treasure chest, Victor Gems of Many Lands. This is the only one of these I've ever seen. I've got it filled with cardboard just to kind of keep it stable. So I don't have any records to go with this, but I do have a listing of the records that came with it inside, should you care to seek those out. They are numbered in the 72 and 73,000 series. Those are ethnic recordings. And this is just a very attractive looking box that those, I think it was 7 records were sold in. You can see, again, it's the edges and corners are a little bit rough. It's missing flaps for the top. On the back side we have some water damage and a tear here, but still very presentable. And for people who are interested in, you know, Victor Incunabula, you're going to have a hard time finding another one of these. Okay, how about a record that those of us who are record guys have probably seen before? Bullet 1001, Francis Craig, Near You and Red Rose. Why on earth would I be showing this record? It's the most common record out there, probably aside from Two Black Crows Parts 1 and 2. The reason I'm showing this is because this was autographed by Mr. Craig on that side. You can see that. And this has sat for years in my music room inside the cast iron nipper record holder that we showed earlier. This was the record I was displaying in that record holder. So now you may bid on that and it will find a new home. All right, we're going to wrap up our discs with this one. This is an early Pathé record from around 1905. This was their very first type of disc that they produced. These were basically a black wax, cylinder wax type composition that was laid over a cement plate. Because of the difference in the coefficient of expansion between those two materials, it caused this crazing on the surface. Every one of these that you find is going to be like this. Some worse than others. Some in which there's very little of the black corded material still left on the plate. Here we have a couple of places where it was lost, but it's mostly intact. Even those that are totally complete, though, are probably unplayable unless you really wanted to mess them up. They have this nice gold seal label, though, very attractive. But really, what these things really have going for them is the back side. Look at that. If you haven't seen one of these before, that'll just knock your socks off. That is probably one of the nicest looking pieces of early phonograph art that you're going to find. A beautiful Pathé rooster on the back of that. Just a paper label attached to this cement record. And this is the original sleeve that it would have come with. Single-sided record, single-sided sleeve. The other side doesn't have the hole. In very good condition. It's got a little bit of a edge split, but nothing of any real consequence. All right, let's now move to some horns. This is nice Victor horn. Would have gone on a Victor 5. You can see some dents in that, but not so bad that they couldn't be straightened out by somebody who knew what they were doing. All right, it is in sound condition. Not much in the way of rust. Again, a little bit of Fort Knox dust in there for you. That's what it looks like on the outside. There is your decal in good shape, and we'll just go around with it. So if you're in need of a Victor 5 horn, that should do it for you. And the neck is fine. Here's a Columbia smooth oak horn, also in nice shape. It's got nothing real serious going on the inside. Well, nothing serious on the outside either, for that matter. Is that good?
Probably as good as I'm gonna get.
All right. All right, the outside has a little bit of a split here and a little bit of a veneer loss right in that spot. Pretty minimal. It's a very, very nice looking solid horn. A couple of marks there that would buff out right where it's rubbed up against something. And your screw on collar for your Columbia threaded elbow. Here is a horn for a little Victor front mount horn with a screw-on neck for one of the threaded brass elbows. They came with those early machines. Or I guess it could have also gone on a small rigid arm machine that was also fitted with a screw-on brass elbow. You know, it's average. Fortunately, no dents or anything, but just a little bit of rust on the outside. Horn bell is good. It would clean up. All right. Here we have, earlier we had an 11-panel signet horn. Here we have a 10-panel signet horn bell. This would have been off of the signet horn that would have gone with an Edison standard or home. Don't have a neck for it, just the bell. But a very clean bell. Really, really nice shape. It looks to be fully original, but I decided it probably wasn't because we do not have decals. Looks like somebody maybe long ago repainted this thing and painted over the decals. So you would never know that that was a repainted horn though. That looks pretty close to exactly what you would expect an Edison Morning Glory bell to look like. Then we have this one. This is these conical horns are actually recording horns. And so these are very much in demand because people who enjoy using their phonographs to record brown wax cylinders upon find themselves in need of these things, and they are not easy to find, especially a nice decent sized one like this. It's in good shape. That's a pretty sweet horn right there. Somebody's going to be very happy with that. All right, there's your little horn hanger on the top. Well, I would venture to say you've never seen one of these horns before. This is an extremely rare horn, probably around 120 years old or so. It is a collapsible cylinder phonograph horn. It's called the Ideal. And we've got a cord here. Just pull the neck out. So that's the neck to your horn. You'll see a couple of spring-loaded little clips here. One here and one here. All right. Let's put this down for a moment, otherwise I'll knock it off. When these things go, they go, so you got to be prepared for it. So I'm going to hold this in place while I untie our rope here. All right. How about that? All right, so this particular horn was obviously made to be portable. Draw it all together, stick it in a little bag, and you're on your way. So if you were doing some kind of phonograph exhibitions or traveling little show or something with your cylinders, you could use one of these. So what we have here is fabric, very heavy, kind of almost a canvas type of fabric, with these very dusty spring steel ribs. So that's what causes it to bounce out as you see here. Over time, these things can detach, as we see right here, and that would have to be put back in place by someone. But this is a horn, a very, very rare horn, and certainly one that would be worth restoring. That is just such a nice little showpiece. It's in good shape. I assume that this was originally a silver colored horn, just as we see here. I don't think anything has ever been done to it. But obviously with something like this, if it doesn't get regular use, then it gets a little brittle, and things like that can happen. So other than the separation, in really, really nice condition. So if you wanted to put this up, you would just, well, before we do that, let's attach the neck. So the neck goes inside like so. You draw it through the collar, and those clips that we just looked at come outside this little edge, and that's what keeps the neck in place. So there is your ideal collapsible phonograph horn. So if you wanted to put this thing up, as I do, we'll release the clips. We release the clips, and then what you do is you just pull these together, and there we go. Goes right back into position, like so. And that's it. And Raquel's going to turn off the camera in a minute and come over here and hold that while I tie it. And here we are, all nice and tidied up and ready for its next exhibition. All right, time to hit another cubicle. So here we have our nicest little phonograph figurine. This is a Victrola 330, which was the top of the line humpback Victrola. These came out just before electrical recording was introduced in 1925. These are early 1920s machines, and very attractive machines. This is a little jewelry box. It's got a red felt lining, you can see here. And somebody's picture has been inserted there into the top of the lid. Very nice little personal touch. Nice gilding on the whole piece, and a clock at the top. The clock does run. I've wound it up, and it'll shake it, and it'll tick for a little while, but then it stops. It probably needs to be looked at by a clock guy. Even so, it's probably not going to run longer than maybe a day or so. But really, this is more of a decorative item than a timekeeping device. Let's kind of see what it looks all the way around. Just a super, super attractive promo item. I don't think that this is a promo item that would have been given away. I think this is probably something you'd have to fork out a few dimes for. Let's see what it looks like on the bottom. I don't know, pretty clean. So that was on our promotional ad for the vintage stuff auction. So you've probably already been looking at that and waiting for it. So there we have the Victrola 330 clock. So, you know, back in the day when we had clock radios, back in a much further day, we had clock phonographs. Okay, here we have a nice Vocalion red record duster. Is that about the right angle for you?
Yep.
And the nap on that, very nice. And we have this sign, OK, Records of Quality. It's two pieces of glass held together by this tape around the edge. So it's kind of a reverse painting sort of a thing. In really nice shape, and from a distance it looks great. However, you can see some water damage down here in this lower right quadrant. Doesn't affect the brown area too much, and like I say, unless you're up close to it, it's not all that noticeable. It's much more noticeable on the back. Picked that up in Oakland a couple of months ago. It's a very productive buying trip to the West Coast. I haven't been out to the West Coast in years, and there were a number of collections that I've been wanting to get out and deal with, and finally had my window of opportunity, and we made it happen. You will see the fruits of that on our spring catalog. So just to give you a little heads up there. Okay, we're going to go to something over here, which all right. Every auction, whether it's a record auction or a stuff auction, there's always the thing that's like, I can't even believe that. That's just the craziest thing. It doesn't even make sense. Well, here we go with the one for this auction. This is a, let me get my cheaters on here. A couple of you guys already know what this is. The Barijoy, Barijoy. You got that? Barijoy Belt of California. So this is looks like a faux leather belt. A really fancy, trendy buckle on there, like came off of a pilgrim. I mean, wouldn't you love to wear a belt like that? Well, it does. Well, what if it had 3 Decca records attached to it? Huh? Yeah, now we're styling. Yeah, See what old Jay-Z would say about that. Show up at one of Diddy's functions wearing this thing. That probably wouldn't be a great idea. But the whole marketing strategy, if you want to call it that, behind this thing, is that you would wear this to the the next sock hop or something that you're going to, and you would just unsnap the record, pull it off, play that thing, and you'd be dancing your feet off for about 35 seconds, and then that would be that. So we could grab another one. Yes, that's right. Dance your night away with 1.5 minutes of recorded sound pleasure right here. So what we have here, these are actually playable records. I don't know that Decca actually made the records for this particular belt, or that Decca was making the records as little promos, and the Barijoy Belt Company saw their golden opportunity and jumped on it. But that is really what this is. This is really a belt to affix your record collection to. I can't believe it. All right. In the middle, we've got Apple Blossom Time by the Andrews Sisters. We see a little edge chip in this record into about 10 grooves, so it's going to cut down significantly on your playing time. Oh my gosh. You know, if you can't have fun, Raquel, what can you have? And then on either side of that is Does Your Heart Beat For Me by Russ Morgan. 2 copies of that, but for you label collectors out there, I know that you're really going to be excited to hear that we have 2 different label varieties going. On this one over here, we have patent registration notice. We'll go ahead and take a little snap off of that so you can see. Registered U.S. Patent Office is what it says. I guess they had to get a patent on these little tiny records because nobody ever would have thought of making a record that small before. Okay, and then on this one over here, we do not have the patent registration. Maybe it's because the guys at the patent office told them to get lost. I don't know. Hey, but you know, somebody's going to want this. Just the value of the records themselves. I mean, that's these things typically sell for $50 or $60 a piece. So, you know, it's a pretty expensive little belt there. All right, let's move on, shall we? Shall we move on, Raquel? Let's grab something else off this tray. Oh, this is. Yeah, this is interesting. So here we have a very nice His Master's Voice collector's plate, right? I mean, really, that is a very good looking image, doesn't it? I mean, colors are vibrant, and Nipper's paying attention, and the whole works. His Master's Voice right here on the bottom. You got all that?
Got it.
All right. So on the back, we have a little description. His Master's Voice, Lil Nipper, stares into the horn of the new Victrola. That's what it says. The new Victrola, recognizing the sound but concerned about the source. This is a limited edition series 144 registration number. Is produced in 1996. under with the permission of GE and RCA, I suppose. Warning, not for food use. Do not serve nipper out of his tray. Glaze contains lead. Food use may result in lead poisoning. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I've been eating too much stuff off of this Victor plate. All right, you got it? I'll take that as a yes. Let's look at some more record dusters. Hadn't seen any record dusters in a while. Might as well knock them out. I think we're going to be record dusted out by the time we finish with these.
Probably.
Okay. Yeah, I believe so. Nice silver tone duster. Like I said, collecting record labels is fun. Collecting record dusters with labels is even more fun. Look at this one. This is not a label though, so it wouldn't count. But a very attractive Victor duster nonetheless. You tell me if I'm going too fast for you.
I will.
The Columbia Gold Band label. Okay. And a nice Brunswick gold label. Here's a tiger striped bronze. So if you got a tiger stripe bronze mechanism in your disc machine, that's what you want. Again, very attractive carpet that we've got on there. This is kind of cool. This is the Academy. Give tone to the home. Academy gramophones. I'm not sure what Academy gramophones are, but this doubles as a needle holder. Look at that, Raquel. Is that cool or what? Look, it has a $50 price tag on the inside. I think it might sell for more than that. Again, that is also oxidized bronze.
That is pretty cool.
And snappy little item too. Kind of a clamshell effect. All right, and here we have a very nice gramophone company duster with an image of the entire painting, frame and all. Isn't that sweet? Good looking duster, nice polished wood, nice green pad. And somebody will very much like adding that to their collection. Guys, I hate to tell you, but I think we are done with record dusters in this auction. We will see. Okay, next up we have a Bettini Stock Certificate, nicely framed and matted, signed by Bettini at the bottom, or maybe rubber stamped. I really don't know. I can't tell under the glass. I'm not sure I could tell if it wasn't under the glass. But I am pretty sure this is original, and whether it was rubber stamped or signed would be the way that it originally came. So for those of you who are into Bettini, and you know who you are, I think you will like this particular piece. And look at all that. Bettini, that's Bettini dust on there, by the way. That's Bettini shaving wax. All right. Now we're going to look at a few cylinder cases, starting with this one. Why anybody would put the handle on the top flat part of the case, I don't know, but you wouldn't want to have to carry that thing very far. Very awkward. This is a homemade cylinder record box. Nice substantial brass handle on the top, brass clasps, brass corner pieces. That's what it looks like on the bottom. Is that somebody's name down there? I don't know. Maybe it is. See what it looks like on the inside. Okay, so look at that nice red kind of felty lining and numbered pegs. 50 of them. You can carry 50 cylinders in this baby. So if you are interested in early vintage recorded sound stuff that is homebrew kind of stuff, then you just might very well be interested in this nice traveling exhibitioner's cylinder case. Alright, here we go. We're going to breeze through a few of these. You know what these things are like. Yep, here we go. Wouldn't that have been great if there was $100 bills underneath that? Unfortunately, there wouldn't. Alright, so here we have I assume to be a Columbia Phonograph Company carrying case. It's got Columbia Phonograph Company on the pegs, but we see somebody's over-labeled them with numbers. Metal pegs, kind of like rolled tin with a wooden top on them. Missing one right here. Interesting. Holds 24 cylinders, that one does. Next up, smaller one. You know, all of these would clean up a whole lot nicer than they look right now, but I just pulled them right off the shelf, so they are what they are. Missing one peg there, just simple cardboard tubes. A 15 cylinder case. Next up. Oh, by the way, this one right here, kind of screwed up fabric on the top. Other than that, it's almost new. Wow. A little bit of a situation going on here. And on the inside, what do we have? Oh, that sounds encouraging. Maybe I should have looked inside of these things before I decided to sell them. Alright, here we have 36 numbered pegs. It looks like all of those are there and they have the right numbers on them. And what do we have? Oh, look at that. Here's a part to a cylinder. You know, I would throw this away, but you may actually need that part, so I'm going to leave it in here just in case. Somebody's looking for it. Alright. Now this is nice. Here, let's do it this way. Well, let's show the outside first. There. 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 And there. Okay. Nice string handle. Okay. Okay. We have 36 pegs, all there. Looks like in pretty decent shape. And 36 more pegs over here. So we have a 72 cylinder carrying case. Now this is actually pretty nice. Good condition. These little panels have little clasps that you slide down and into a slot to keep those locked into position. So 72 record storage case. We're just about done with these, Raquel. Don't go to sleep on me. Kind of a matching case to the one we just looked at. Also the light blue felt and the same type of numbered pegs. 48 here. See, 48 and 72 is 120. So now we're getting up there. Alright. And our last one. How about that? Pool table felt with little cross pegs. Wooden. Oh, look at that. You know, there's always a black peg in the family. All right. So we're going to look at a few more record dealer signs for Victor 18046 and 18054. Don't fail to hear these. Nice little dancing scene at the top. As we saw before, these have little pinholes, very tiny pinholes where they had been hung up. They were not originally standing signs. We don't see the place where a cardboard standing mechanism would have been, so they were meant to be hung. Same here. Yellow Dog Blues. Victor 18618. You'll notice that these have some bent corners and stains and, like I say, little pinholes and so forth. They're not perfect, but they certainly look great. Nobody's going to go up there with a magnifying glass and stare at it. Very nice artwork here, and that's what I'm talking about. Little corner creases, little corner situations, no stand-up device on the back. All right, so we got those three, all Victors. I think most of what we've been looking at so far have been Columbias. All right, you guys, are we still needing some record storage for cylinders? All right, well, here we go. Storage cylinders, storage boxes for cylinders. We have two here. 15 cylinder box, original pegs. Another one, same situation. 15 cylinder box, original pegs, stamped A.B. Walls, Jewelry and Music House, Lafayette, Indiana. So if you know anybody from Lafayette, Indiana, maybe they would like to repatriate that. That is 2 boxes, 1 lot, Raquel. Okay. Two black boxes, 12 original numbered pegs. And there's not much to look at on these. All the sides look basically the same. Another 12 peg box. Okay. That's what you're bidding. 2 boxes, 1 lot. 2 boxes, 1 lot. 12 pegs. These are the Columbia Phonograph Company tops on them. Black box. And one just like it here. Top on that. There's a Columbia Phonograph Company listing inside. Whatever those cylinders were, the box does not come with them. There's one on that one as well. 2 boxes, 1 money. All right. And just in case you were saying, yeah, but I wanted a homemade disc record box, we aim to please. This holds right at about 50 10-inch 78s. Very well constructed. Brass hinges. This was full of Bing Crosby records when I bought it on Long Island years ago. Nice substantial handles on the side, so you can pick it up, sit on it. Be a perfect little storage box for a kid that you were giving their a 78 collection to. That's what I'm thinking. What do we have? Looks like I missed some cylinder storage boxes over here. All right, so what we have here are 4 storage boxes, all 1 money. 2 of these have no lids, as we see. All right. 12 cylinder boxes, and then that one does have a lid. has a lid. 2 more 12-cylinder boxes, and all 4 1 watt. Okay, I promise. I think this is the last cylinder storage type of item we're going to see in this auction. So we have 4 trays here. I'm not sure what these trays are out of, but I know several of you guys know exactly what these things are out of, and maybe you need them. If you do, it would be a hard thing to find, but this is your lucky day. All of these 4 trays have their entire complement of pegs except for the one here on top. So we got 50 pegs in each tray. That's 150 total pegs here, plus looks like 9 more here. So we got 159 pegs, and these pegs are great for repairing things like this. Wherever you're missing pegs in something, just pull them off of here, and you're going to be good to go. Or better yet, if you've got whatever kind of a cabinet that these trays came out of, it'd be even better to restore that. What do these things look like when they're cleaned up? Well, here is a peg right here. I just kind of wiped off the top of that and around the body of it. So they're gonna look okay. This one right here actually look like these right here. So there is dust on there that's going to come off. So I think for the right guy, this is going to be a very nice lot to find a whole bunch of identical pegs to restore a cabinet. Okay, let's do a little bit more paper. Here we have another Columbia advertising sign, kind with a slotted back that you can slide the record into. This one's got a tear up here at 12 o'clock and one right down here at 3 o'clock. There and there. But, again, it's pretty nice. And you can probably touch that up, repair a little bit. It looks like we got a little tear right here in the guy's forehead on the left. So, there you got that. Then we have a very nice Columbia store shopping bag. Your dealer would have these things on hand and slip your records in there when you were done with your purchase, that you could carry them home. A little string thing, a little clasp on the back, but in really nice shape. We have down here Burt Williams, we've got Al Jolson, we got Weber and Fields right here, and a list of records by them. So you don't usually find these in good shape because they're just all crumpled up and torn, but this one, other than the flap, is virtually perfect. All right. Okay, Robert Crumb, who most of you know, at least most of you record guys, is a cartoonist, very famous for the Keep on Truckin' cartoon back in the 1970s. Truckin' was the name of a dance in the 1930s, by the way, in case you were wondering what that meant. It has nothing to do with trucking. It is a dance where you do that thing. In case you ever seen that before.
Wait, do it again for the camera.
Jack would do it. If Jack was here, he'd show us. So anyway, that's what Mr. Crumb is all about, and he's a big collector of this sort of thing, jazz, blues, hillbilly, dance bands, that sort of thing. And he designed this series of kind of like trading cards, except I guess you wouldn't be trading them because you'd buy them by the pack. It's not like you had to buy 48 cases of bubble gum to collect the entire set. So we see here just different artists. There's Pegleg Howell. There's Carr and Blackwell, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Whistler and his Jug Band. Just really cool cards. And on the back of them, you see a little write-up on the band or the artist, a little bio on them, sold by Yazoo Records out of New York. Complete set of these were $5.98. I think that may be for all 3 boxes. I'm not sure. Don't recall. But anyway, brand new, possibly never even looked at cards. cards. Isn't that nice? 36 in that particular set. Those are going to generate a little bidding interest. Set of 36 cards in the original box. So that's your Heroes of the Blues. This is your early jazz greats. There's Jelly Roll Morton, Joe Oliver, Mary Lou Williams. Oh, look at that. Frank Trumbauer. Do you know where Frank Trumbauer was born? He was a very famous jazz artist. He was born in Carbondale, Illinois.
Wow.
Carbondale, Illinois means something around here. I didn't know that until I just flipped this right here. But he played trombone and several instruments. Anyway, that's your early jazz greats. Carbondale, Illinois. That is so cool. All right, and here we have the Pioneers of Country Music. This is a set of 40 cards. You get 40 additional cards in this set. So you better bid like you mean it. So what do we have here? Jimmy and George Carter of the Carter Brothers and Son. Let's see what else we got. Taylor Griggs, Louisiana Melody Makers. The Tennessee Ramblers. What do we have back here, Raquel? Looks like a bonus. Look at that. A Bob Wills and a Carter family stamp. Unused postage. Looks like they came off of a coil. All right, so we got 40 in that one, 36 each in the others. All absolutely brand new. Kind of hate to see those go. All right. Sonora. This is a very nice Sonora catalog. And I think there's a date in it. Prices in effect June 3rd, 1918. The little price sheet that's tipped in right here at the front. And you'll see all of your Sonoras from the lowliest model all the way up to the $1,000 Supreme. And that was a phonograph. And it's in here somewhere. Plus, there's a page on your period designs. Maybe it starts, there we go. All right, that is a Supreme right there. It's bowed out in all three dimensions. And just a gorgeous machine. And truly, I mean, it was really something for its time. Victor didn't really have, I don't know if Victor ever did a machine that had a, here we go, that had a gauge on it that would tell you how many more records you could play based on the tension of the spring or how many times it had been wound up. This thing would play 45 minutes on one winding. Pretty impressive. So anyway, you got that. Here is a similar catalog for Brunswick, captive music. And this is a little bit fancier. Somebody's written there on the inside, and then somebody else came along and tried to erase it and didn't work out so well, so they quit. But so we got a nice little write-up on Brunswick's and Altona reproducers. Here are your art case machines. That Brunswick that we showed earlier, the Panatrope P3, that was an art case Brunswick, and it may actually even be in here. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. It was the Stratford. So the Stratford was a regular wind-up machine, and so the case that the P3 Panatrope is in is just a reclaimed Stratford off of the assembly line where they put the electrical apparatus into it and had to drop it out the bottom a little bit, as we saw earlier. All right, and then further back you'll have your more ordinary models. Okay, so we have a Sonora and a Brunswick catalog. The Brunswick pages are loose from the cover, but not a terribly big deal. Okay, we've got 3 opera scores here that came out of the Caruso Museum. These were all scores actually used by Enrico Caruso during his career. This first one is from Rigoletto. This is a title page here. Got it? Mm-hmm. And here we can see Mr. Caruso signed it. 1917. Looks like Signor Papi in 1915 would have used it prior to him. This is not a personal score for Caruso. We don't see any name on the outside. We see kind of like a book from the library at school. You know, who checked it out next? There was Mr. Caruso's name. So this is a score that was used by him. There are no notations that I noticed on the inside. It's just a straight score. All right, but used by Caruso. Here is another one very similar to that. This one's been around the block. Look at all the people who checked this one out. So I go all the way back to 1904, it looks like. Caruso had it here last in 1916. Property of Maurice Grau. You'll see this stamped several places inside the score. Here we have it again. You want to be sure it didn't get out. Maurice Grau was an opera impresario who is associated both with Covent Garden as well as the Metropolitan. Inside here we do see a lot of markings. I can't guarantee you that these are Caruso's markings because several people had this, used it. But you'll see pages that are taped together or held together by paper clips, like here. These would have been pages that would not, where whoever the artist was would not have been singing. These he's not on stage for. So you'll see big X outs in those places that don't have any relevance to the performance. But you'll find other notes here and there where they are singing, maybe just things to draw your attention. This is where I need to come in and so forth. So that's very cool. And in this one was Caruso's personal score. We see his name engraved here, or stamped, gold stamped here on the cover. What is this? The Force of Destiny, a Ricordi score. Did he sign this one? I don't guess he signed this one. Didn't have to since it was his. But we do see some notations inside. There we go. Not a whole lot, but a few. And what we find of particular interest is sometimes when he was bored and didn't have anything better to do, waiting on the other performers on stage, he would put his drawing hand to work. I don't know who this is, but probably someone either in the audience or connected with the opera house or whoever. Who knows? He didn't tell us. I think that is the only drawing that appears in this particular score. So anyway, very, very cool, very personal items of Caruso that relate directly to his fame and importance as an artist. So something that if you're an opera collector, having one of those in your collection would be quite a thing. We're going to wrap up part 5 of the vintage stuff auction with this Pathé Records globe, or Pathé as some like to pronounce it. This is the only example that I've seen of a illuminated globe that has anything to do with records or phonographs. Probably what that means is that I just don't get out often enough. I'm sure that they're out there, but I'm not aware of another one of these. I bought this from a collector, John Black, in Canada probably 30 years ago, and it was, we both held our breath until it arrived safely on my doorstep. But safely it did arrive, and I have owned it ever since. It's time to let it go. It's just such a beautiful piece. You don't really need to say that much about it. It speaks for itself. It's got the same image on the other side, very much like you would see a gasoline globe that went on the gasoline pumps, and probably made by one of the same companies that did that kind of work. When I got this from him, I was not sure as to whether or not this stand was original. And I guess my biggest question about it is because this Pathé decal on the front, I'm pretty sure is reproduction. It's just not really all that well done. It kind of laps over the edges here. It could be real. I don't know, but I don't know. It just looked a little bit iffy to me. So I would typically display this in my room with a Pathé to the back side. But this is an original base, or believed to be anyway. I asked a guy who specializes in gas pump globes, and he thought it was. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm not making a guarantee on it one way or another. You're not really buying it for the base anyway. You're buying it for the globe. This is in really nice shape. However, it does have a crack. And I tell you what, I'm going to unplug this thing so I can take it off and show you what we're talking about here. You can see, even not illuminated, it still is a very handsome looking piece. And when you've got all the lights off in the room and this is the only thing shining, then it is pretty killer. All right, so let's look at this crack. And you'll also see that it says on the top, KH Sign Manufacturing Company, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. See if you can get in on that wording. Yeah, so that crack is not visible from the front, as you saw, but it is certainly visible from the top. It's, I mean, I would prefer it if it wasn't there, obviously, but it is not, it's not going anywhere. This is kind of the way it was when I got it from John. I don't know how long he had it, but we do ship stuff all over the United States, very fragile things, wax cylinder records, largely without mishap, so we can get this to you wherever you live. I'm kind of hoping somebody in the United States winds up with it, but there's a good chance that somebody in France might wind up with it as well, or anywhere, so whatever, we'll deal with it when the time comes, but just an exceptional piece and certainly one of the highlights of the auction. And now, for the last lot. When I turned 50 years old, which was 13 years ago, I felt like treating myself. And so I had always wanted an antique car. And my good friend and co-author on the Note the Notes book, Illustrated History of the Columbia Record Label, and the Collector's Guide to Victor Records, Mike Sherman, had a couple of really nice cars, as he does today as well. He's like me. We like things that are just mint original. That's just what we really dig on. And these were his two cars were very, very low mileage, and he was going to sell them right at that time to trade up to a 1936 Packard. So I bought his 1939 Buick Special. It is an amazing car. It's got less than 26,000 original miles on it. You can see a picture of it here on your screen. It has the original paint, very, very dark forest green. At nighttime, even at twilight, it looks black. You can't really tell it's green at all. Original tan upholstery on the inside. It's got the original 1939 inspection sticker from Pennsylvania. It's got the original little dealer card that the buyer received from the garage through whom he purchased the vehicle. It's got the original manual. I think it even has the original windshield wipers on it. But it is a functional, drivable vehicle. It's really a museum piece. You're not going to find cars in this condition that old very often. So what is that? 80 plus years old. Yeah, about 85 years old. So anyway, it is time for me to let this go. So I don't know that there's anybody watching this video who would be interested in such thing. I'm sure there are a lot of people who would be interested in it, but it's going to be a pricey car. I mean, pricey. I guess that's all relative. It's going to be more expensive than anything that we have in this auction. Let's just put it that way. If you happen to be interested in it, give me a call, and we can discuss that. The vehicle was transported by truck from California to me when I bought it from Mike, and we can make the same thing happen to wherever it is that you live. It's not a big deal, and it's not terribly expensive. So anyway, so that's going to be the last item in this particular part. I wish we could have it here to show to you, but we're going to have to just settle with the pictures. See you in part 6.